All right.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am great.
All right. I'm glad we are able to do this. And I've been watching, what you've accomplished and, watching how you've been meeting with Rhonda and the other people in your group and encouraging them. And we have some some similar contacts. Jerry Prim. I think you know Jerry. Yeah.
I just saw Jerry earlier today.
Yeah, that's my dude. I'm going to get him on here. I used to actually coach with the Gator League with Jerry a long time ago. That's how I met Jerry. So excited. So thank you. What I do is I'm gonna do a quick intro, like maybe 15 seconds, let everybody know, because the audio is going to transfer over to the podcast as well. So I edit that too. So I do my little station identification. You're
Do your thing. I'm here.
We got to get that in. So. Hello, everybody. Welcome. You are listening to RDC Speak Life Sessions. My name is Rodney. I am the host and creator of the show. You can subscribe to this show on Apple through RDC Speak Life Sessions, Spotify, Google, Castbox, Anchor, available on all those platforms. We'd like to welcome our new subscribers from outside the United States: Australia, Austria, Switzerland, Scotland, Ireland, and Africa. The rest of the world, where you at? Come on and join us. Today on my show, I am blessed to have an incredible guest, a Black woman who rocks, who has accomplished a great deal of things in her life. She is a journalist. She's an author. She has won 2 incredible awards, which we're going to talk about. One is 2019 Cleveland champion. I want to talk about that one. And then the 2020 award you got for Humanitarian of the Year. So we're going to talk about that from she hails from the city that rocks, which is Cleveland, the city on the North Coast. And I have 20 years of living in Cleveland, Ohio, so I know what that's about. Without further ado, show some love for my guest, Rhonda Crowder. Yeah, so how are you doing today?
I am absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
All right. And things are going well in Cleveland right now?
Things are well. It is warm. It is not raining. It's June, so it's beautiful in Cleveland. This is the best time of the year.
Yes.
To be in Cleveland. I always tell people who are not from Cleveland, like if you're from a warm, if you're from warm weathered area, don't come to Cleveland until the summertime, because it is beautiful here.
Well, I'm with you on that now, because that's how I feel about going to Ohio. That's my home. That's what made me. But I can't go there unless it's warm now. I'm weak. I'm weak now. I can't deal with cold weather. Anything below 40 degrees, I can't deal with anymore. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So, what's your plans for the weekend?
I am going to write all weekend. I have a lot of writing to do. I have 4 grants that I need to write, and they're all due in next week. I'm co-authoring a book about personal responsibility, so I have to get that done. I have a lot of reading. I have a lot of work to do, so I am using this quarantine time to just really stay in the house and get some stuff done. Because there's nothing to really do. I mean, you can't really do anything, right?
Yeah, you can go order some food. That's
right. I go for a walk. I go for a walk every morning. That's my my daily activity. So it's grind time.
For real. So we want to thank you for all the guests who are starting to join us. I'm sitting here with my incredible guest, Rhonda Crowder. She is an author and journalist. We can really talk a little bit more about her story too. You're a journalist. That's what you studied in school. What gave you a desire for journalism?
Actually, I did not study journalism.
Oh, see, that's what we're talking. Sometimes I need to be corrected. And right now, go ahead. Tell me.
I was an English major. My goal was to write books, plays, and movies. That was it. I was very tunnel vision on that. I never thought about journalism until I actually needed a job. And so I always stumbled into these journalism jobs, and I got bit by the bug. And I worked for the Call and Post newspaper for 11 years, and that was just a wonderful experience. So that's how I became a journalist.
Okay. Well, because English, journalism, they kind of run together, right?
Yes.
Okay, so see, that's why we're talking. I'm getting educated right now. School's in session. So, with going into journalism. Oh, see, everybody's saying what's up to you. Are these some of your followers joining us?
Yeah. Yes.
They're excited. They're excited to talk to you. And like, as far as your gift of writing and just creating, I'm gonna skip over because I had some other questions for you. But I want to ask. You mentioned you had a desire to write stories, write films, write TV shows and stuff. Do you still have the desire?
Absolutely. The passion, the fire never dies. It may get toned down a little bit, but it never dies. I've written a play. I've written a documentary. I wrote a book. I'm actually in the middle of writing part 2 to my book.
Okay.
So and I feel like as a writer, you're really just getting started. I'm 46, so you're really just getting started in your 40s.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people come out of the womb, superstars. For our generation, like you had to go through some things. You had to, go to work and make a living, but the passion is still burning inside of me, and I absolutely, I'm going to go for it.
Yes. Well, I want to encourage you because now is probably the best time to be a writer, a content creator right now, because even the streaming services, they're all looking for good content, good shows. Now, it doesn't even matter what part of the country you live in. If you got something that they want, you can pitch it to them. So I want to encourage you to finish that because I want to see some of the stuff. Who knows? I might help produce it with you or, whatever, because that's what I like to do. I like to do that as well. So it's encouraging to know that you have that desire and it hasn't left you. Now, as far as the book, what is the title of the book again? Because everybody needs to know that because I want people to go get the book.
So the book is titled Riddles. Okay. It's a murder mystery. It's set in Atlanta. There's a dead girl in the VIP room of a gentleman's club. And nobody is interested in finding out who killed her. They're like, just like, ain't no telling what she did to somebody. They're sweeping it under the rug. And another girl that works in the club is really bothering her, right? Wow. And she wants to find out who killed this girl. And she becomes an amateur sleuth. Oh. And, she just started poking around, asking questions, and people telling her she crazy, she need to leave it alone. And she's like, no, I really want to find out who did this. It could be some crazy serial killer out here trying to kill strippers. And, and she keeps going on about it. And eventually she gets to the point where she said, maybe I am crazy. Maybe I do need to leave this alone. And just when she reached that point, she receives a piece of evidence that propels her to keep going forward to try to find out who killed this girl. So I think it's an amazing story. Not only because I wrote it, but I think it's an amazing story because I always said, like, I never wanted to be an author just for the sake of being an author. I wanted to tell a good story, and I really, I'm amazed at how the story developed. There was a lot of things that ended up coming out in the story that I had no intentions of that happened, in the writing process as I began to develop these characters and dig down, into their lives and see who they are and what they were really about. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a really it's a 5-star read on Amazon. Right now it's only available on Kindle.
Okay.
But I am in the process of finishing up part 2, and then I'm going to re-release part 1 in print, make it available through Amazon, put some more life into it as I prepare to release the second book.
All right. I'm looking forward to that because I actually love fiction because you can just embellish, you can have fun with the characters.
Yes.
And, do you prefer fiction or nonfiction when you write?
Nonfiction comes easy to me. Mm-hmm. I always knew that I could write nonfiction. Okay. That's, So I love fiction because that's my challenge.
Okay.
Can I develop a story, for 50,000, 60, 70,000 words and keep people interested from beginning to end?
Okay. Now, Diamond Perspective, which, yes, it was nice meeting you as well, said, can you send a link for the book? I love to help promote it.
Absolutely. So if you click the link in my bio, there is a link to the book on Amazon in my bio.
So go to Rhonda Crowder, who is my special guest.
Rhonda _Crowder. Here, I'll put that.
Crowder. And then what you'll do is you'll click on the link in her bio, and that's where you actually get access to the book. Thank you so much. We appreciate that support. Now,
yes.
What part of the country are you still in Cleveland, or are you in Atlanta now?
I am still in Cleveland. Okay. Cleveland is home base. I lived in Atlanta for 2 years after I graduated from college.
Okay.
I kind of came back, really on the fluke to celebrate Christmas with my family, and I stayed. So I've been back in Cleveland. It's almost 20 years now I came from Atlanta, and I saw something different in Cleveland at the time. I saw Cleveland bubbling up. LeBron had just, got drafted to the Cavs, and I was like, I don't want to miss this, right? Like, I'm bring a championship home. So I didn't want to miss that. And I saw a lot of wonderful opportunity here in Cleveland. And so I decided to, just kind of settle down and stay here.
Hey, I love that. Put like this great cost of living. People sleep on that.
Yes.
I hate snow, but man, your money goes so much further. Like out here in LA, money it's interesting in LA. That's all I can say. I love living here, but the cost of living is crazy. It is just crazy every day. So, but that's what I chose to do. So, but back to you. Now you have this incredible gift. How are you using this gift to empower other people? LA is too expensive.
I look at journalism as activism for me. As an opportunity to tell stories that are rarely told, particularly about, the Black experience and what's happening in the Black community. So I'm always telling other people's story. I've spent more time telling other people's story than I have been telling my own. And so I've gotten into a space now where it's like, okay, Rhonda, you got to work on your own stories, because if not, but I really enjoy telling other people's stories. And I also love working with other writers. I've edited nearly 30 books. Some have gone on to be, award-winning, best-selling authors. So I'm really, proud of the fact that I had a hand in helping develop other people's writing careers. I'm really proud of that. As you know, I've been doing some writing coaching, just trying to help writers develop their story before they get to the editing process. So it kind of helps, reduce the amount of editing that needs to be done. I mean, editing still needs to be done regardless, but if you can reduce it, that helps a lot. I work with people too, so I forget about that. I teach young people about creative writing and journalism as well.
So, the writing group you have that you're coaching, how many people are in this group, and are there plans after this group finishes their journey with you that maybe branch out and even do more of this? Because I can tell you, I'm watching my wife be encouraged with her book, and she's covered a lot more territory working with you, because I'll be quiet. I live with her. I can't coach. It'll be an argument every day. I can't coach. I'll just be quiet, but I'm thankful for you. So what's up?
Absolutely. So it's 7 women in the group. It started out as a 30-day live coaching / course. So I teach them about writing, how to develop a story, and then I'm also coaching them along the way. And I decided to do it that way, in a group setting, because I know the power of being in a writing group.
Yes.
Writing is a very solitude, journey, task, right? We go off in our corner, we write, and then we don't come out and start sharing with people until we're almost done or just about done, you know, or somewhere along that way. So it is amazing how the women has bonded.
Yes.
And they want to keep going. So we have decided that the writing group will continue, and we started out meeting every day, you know, during the week, right?
Yes.
Monday through Friday. Now we've scaled back to 2 days a week because they needed a little bit more time because everyone was a first time writer.
Yes.
And you know, you can write a book in 30 days, but then sometimes, you know, for a first time writer, it may take a little bit longer. So we continue to on beyond 30 days. We scale back to like 2 days a week. Now, because everybody is really so close to being done, we're going to scale back to once or twice a month. And then the group will continue on to be support for one another, to, you know, give feedback to one another, you know, to just kind of really help inspire and encourage each other along the way.
I really love that. I wish I had been a part of something like that when I was writing my book. I wrote my first book and it was cool, but a lot of the stuff that, you know, you're teaching, I was like, man, I wish I'd have known that when I was doing my book. So, you know, but I learned for the next time because I did enjoy the writing experience. But I was like, the next book I write, I want to write a fiction book and I want to have some fun. I want to embellish.
Fiction is definitely fun. You could nonfiction is, you know, it's very straightforward. It's the truth. You know, you can't deviate for that. You can be creative in how you tell the story, right?
Yes.
But when it comes to fiction, I mean, like, you can make some things happen, you know, that you never expected.
Right. You can just have fun, you know. Because that's what I do for a living. I paint pictures. I paint pictures of people as an actor. So I was like, I want to do that as a writer. Now, we talked about your group and your journey as far as like from English, like what you studied to being a journalist. To me, I've always had to have some type of belief system, something that help drive me every day to keep me focused. Do you have a belief system or a mantra or something that you actually live by that actually spurs you along each and every day?
Well, I mean, you know, I definitely have a belief system. I believe in, you know, God Almighty and His Son, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
All right.
You know, and I have, my faith has grown tremendously, you know, over the years. I remember a time where I did kind of borderline atheist, you know, because I'm a questioner, so I questioned a lot of things. But you know, I've come to realize that in what you question, God will show you. He will provide the answers for you, and He's definitely done that in my life. I meditate, you know, so I wake up every morning. I read, you know, I'm a firm reader, avid reader of our daily bread. Yeah. So I got an app on my phone. I read my daily devotion, my scripture. I do meditation. I use Insight Timer app.
Okay.
I am like 507 days straight on this thing. Even if it's just 1 minute or 3 minutes, you know, just that time to like stop and take a breath and reflect on like, okay, hey, you know, regroup, reset, whatever. I have to do that. I have my long list of affirmations that, you know, I say every day, over and over and over again, because I am a believer in the power of the word, you know, and that if you say it, if you speak it, it will come to fruition, right?
Yes.
I don't journal as much as I like. Like, I get into periods in my life where I'm journaling, but you know, I have boxes of journals, and I go back and I pick up journals that I wrote maybe like 10, 15 years ago. And it's amazing because I'm doing the things that I wrote that I was wishing or dreaming about doing, and wrote it down in that journal. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing this now. So, I mean, you know, I'm a believer in the universe. You know, if you speak it, it can happen. If you can see it, if you believe it, it can definitely happen. You know, and that's what drives me every day.
I love that. And with that being said, we talked about your own faith system and what drives you. Is there one person in particular who inspires you that you've looked up to, or even somebody that mentors you? Because I'm a firm believer that you need 3 types of people in your life, and I'll share that after you answer.
I have so many people that inspire me. Like I could go on and on and on about people who have inspired me, from authors, that I've read, to people that I meet in my life. Probably, my biggest inspiration, my biggest supporter is my mom.
Okay.
She has always just, really supported me, whatever I did, sometimes either right or wrong. She's always been there for me. I always say, when the world spits me out, chew me up and spit me out, I can go back home to the comfort of my mom. So I mean, like, that has probably been my number one, definitely inspiration. Always wanting, to make her proud of me. Your wife, right?
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So your wife is the reason why I went to college.
Oh, okay. Now, all right, now we're talking. Let's see.
Because, so Philanda we were friends at John Hay in high school.
And she was, you're a Green Hornet, right?
I'm a Green Hornet, absolutely. So, we were friends in high school. She's a year older than me. Uh-huh. And Philanda was all about the books, right? She was about her books. She was the first person that I learned about HBCUs from, because I remember she went on a college tour down at Clark, and she came back and was telling me about it, and I was like, wait a minute, I got to check that out. She was just so about her business. There was days where I probably would not have went to school had she not came and picked me up.
Whoa.
Right. Would come and pick me up and take me to school, and she was just, she went to college, she graduated from high school, she went off to college. She was just always one of, the people in my life that I looked to and was like, I want to be like her. I might be hanging around these other people, but she's doing what she's supposed to do. She always was on the right track. Yeah. Ever since I've known her. And so she has always been an inspiration to me. But I can rattle off books, authors. I have a story about so many books that, caused the pivot or change in my life. Mm-hmm. Richard Wright's Black Boy, yes. Maya Angelou's I Know Where the Caged Bird Sings, Donald Goins' Dope Fiend, yes. You name it. Right, I have just this long list. I said I need to create Rhonda's reading list because there's just so many books that I read that inspired me. I'm inspired by life and by people. I've had the amazing opportunity to just meet so many wonderful people in my life that have overcome some things, or just, have done some amazing things in their life, or even, people who live everyday ordinary lives and just still manage, to thrive in whatever it is they do. So I take all of that and use it as inspiration.
Man, I love this. She's definitely gonna love listening to this interview. I wanted to ask about these awards that you won recently. 2019 Cleveland Champion by the Cleveland Plain Dealer. Break that down. What's up with that?
So the Cleveland Plain Dealer, Idea Stream, and Guardian, decided that they wanted to identify some hometown heroes. Okay. And I can't remember exactly how many it was, but it was a number of us. Mm-hmm. We were identified as Cleveland champions. Okay. And people had to nominate you. And I know that there was I think there was 25 of us. Uh-huh. So there were all of these nominations, and then they narrowed it down to 25 people. And I was amongst the 25. I have no idea who nominated me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I just got a call one day and a letter in the mail saying, hey, we want to recognize you as a Cleveland champion. And that's for the work that I do in the Huff community around advocating for improving literacy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So just to kind of give some backstory on that, I coordinate a program called Huff Reads, and our goal is to unite the Huff community around improving literacy. Mm-hmm. So, from Cleveland, you understand Huff, right?
Yeah, I was break it down for them. We need to educate them real quick on Huff.
Well, you know, Huff is a storied community. You know, definitely Black community, definitely poor. It was a victim of the Huff riots back in the 60s. Yeah. But I'm from Huff. I was born and raised. Yeah. I'm Huff, right? My parents met in Huff. When I was born, my mother brought me home to 93rd and Huff, and I grew up in Huff for like the first 14 years of my life. Even now, I live in Glenville, which is the right neighborhood right next door to Huff. I'm still in the same zip code that I grew up in. So when the opportunity, you know, was presented to me to coordinate this program, and to promote literacy in this community, I jumped on it because, for one, I know how writing changed my life. So remember, I said, you know, your wife was this inspiration to me, because I always tell people I barely graduated from high school, like barely, like by the skin of my teeth. I was the only one out of my core group that I ran with that graduated, because Philanda was a year older than me. So I barely graduated from high school, but it was books. You know, like I said, I have this track of books that I can name that like really inspired me, that, you know, say, hey, Rhonda, you got to get your shit together, you know, and do something with your life. Yes. So I am a testament to, you know, what books can do for your life, because I was definitely on the track of becoming a product of my environment. You know, because I grew up in Huff during the height of the crack epidemic, and, you know, it was bad, and I started, you know, losing faith, and, you know, giving up on hope, and, you know, just getting caught up in all the things that a teenager can get caught up in living in the inner city, right?
There's a few things. Yeah. A few things we can get caught up on.
Absolutely.
Oh, so I love that. So that's what that award was centered around. And then this other award you won, which is the 2020 Humanitarian of the Year. And this is for, and you need to break this down.
So it's that award was given to me. So the Cleveland Champion Award opened up the door for just so much other recognition. And after I got the Cleveland Champion Award, it was a big write-up about me in the paper, and I was interviewed on IdeaStream. There was a story in The Guardian. Yes. So I started getting, you know, all these calls and congratulations, and then I get an email from the Cleveland chapter of Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Okay. So, you know, Southern Christian Leadership Conference is the organization that Dr. Martin Luther King started so many years ago. Yes. And you know, and it has continued, you know, in a number of cities. And Cleveland is one that has an active SDLC chapter. It is led by the Reverend Dr. Theophilus, I hope I pronounced his name right, Cavanis.
You did.
And, you know, at Greater Abyssinia Church. Yeah. And they said, you know, we want to award you with our 2020 Humanitarian of the Year award. And it was, again, for the work that I was doing in the Huff community.
For giving back and taking care of people.
Exactly.
I firmly believe that we have a responsibility. I had mentioned that there's 3 people I believe we should all have in our lives. Some people may not fully understand Paul's role in the Bible, but I've always been taught by my mentors that you need 3 types of people. One, you need somebody who's like a Paul. Paul was like, he mentored, you know, the disciples, the apostles. He helped them to grow in the faith. You need a Barnabas, somebody who's kind of like on your same level. Y'all hold each other accountable. You described the relationship with you and Philanda. That was like that type of relationship where you sharpening each other and you pushing each other. Then you need like a Timothy in your life, somebody who's younger, who's looking up at you like, man, I want to go that route, so you can actually show them the way. So that's a responsibility I think we all should take on. If you have those 3 types of people in your life, it keeps you pretty focused. And keep you out of trouble. because I'm serious, because you got all these different levels of accountability, and it helps you stay the course. And it's helped me my entire life. So that's why I encourage people with that, to have that as their goal. So we talked about your writing. Now, I know Karamu House is in Cleveland, Ohio. Have you
Yes.
ever thought about writing something to be performed at Karamu?
It's interesting because when I was a student at Tri-C and taking not Tri-C at Cleveland State, because I went to Tri-C and then I went to Cleveland State where I
Yes.
got my degree in English. My playwriting teacher, she would always encourage us to submit stuff to short festivals and things like that. I am a huge supporter of Karamu.
Yeah.
And someday, I got a little bit of acting bug in me too. So I always, my claim to fame is I was Cinderella in the 8th grade play. But I gave up on my dream of acting.
Why?
I said, I don't know. I just started to think like, okay, well, it might be a little bit more money in the background. And I like kind of, being in the background. Acting is, that's a tough career to pursue. So I shifted from, the acting to the writing part.
Yes.
And sometimes I have thought about, probably more so going over there and taking some acting classes and, maybe brushing off my
Never too late.
or something. Absolutely.
Never too late. You remember Black Panther, the movie Black Panther?
Yes.
And there was an elderly woman in the movie, and she was sitting on the council. You know her story, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she wanted to act for a long time. This was like her first acting role, and she gets booked in a major movie. So
Right. Absolutely.
She'll be known forever for this role that she played. So there's no timeline set. To me, I think it's just the right time. That's all I look at. The right season for it. But I really do hope you don't let that go completely. But you are right. There's more money on the other side of the camera. When you're on the production side, you calling the shots, and you're hiring. You can hire yourself to act in. So so that's where the power is. I tell everybody who asks me about my career, and I tell them, I was like, your goal should be to get on the other side of the camera, because that's where longevity comes, to work in the entertainment industry. So, and do you have any aspirations of maybe, coming out here from time to time and doing some work? I'm just putting it out there because you're such a phenomenal writer. Would love to have those skills, displayed out here.
My life partner, he's originally from Cleveland.
Okay.
Born and raised here in Cleveland. When he graduated from high school, graduated from college, he went out to LA, and he lived in LA for 30 years.
Oh wow!
And he just came back to LA from LA in 2015.
Okay.
And we met in 2016. So we always have the conversation of, being bi-coastal, right? So there was just some kind of foundational things I needed to lay some foundation here in Cleveland before I left again. Like I always said, Cleveland is always going to be home base.
Right.
So yes, we always talk about going to LA. So I have to tell this story. He's not here. Because he always tell people too. So we was talking one day, and I was like, so when we go to LA, like, where you gonna take me? Because he spent he spent more time in LA than he having. Right. He worked for the LA Times. He has a lot of connections in LA.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, where are you going to take me when we go to LA? He was like, oh, I'll take you to Beverly Hills and I'll take you here and there. I'm like, okay, well, what about the Compton swap meet? He was like, girl, why do you want to go to the Compton swap? I'm like, because, like in all the movies, they talk about the Compton swap meet. Like, I need to go see the swap meet.
Hey, we'll all go together.
Swap meet yet.
We'll all go together so you can experience that. Because I'm sure when you come out here, when y'all come, you're going to be hanging with us too. So, I'll make sure of that.
Philanda have asked, like, well, when are you coming to LA? Yes. So, absolutely. Probably would have been this year had, COVID not hit.
Yeah, well, we got to make sure it happens very soon. I used to come to LA a lot as a kid, and throughout most of my childhood, that's where I developed a strong love for it. I have a whole lot of family over in Inglewood and Compton. So,
Okay.
so that's what, like, I started developing a love. I always knew that I wanted to work in the arts. And I stayed involved in the arts all throughout high school and college a little bit. And then even in Cleveland, I stayed involved with the arts. And I have to thank Philly Wheaton. He cast me in a play that I actually did right before I left. I played a doctor in his play, and it was at the Playhouse. The Playhouse. I was like, it blew me away.
But I remember that.
Yeah, and it was just cool because, you know, he just really treated everybody really well. And I remember taking a picture of my name on the door. It was me and Archie Berwick had to share a dressing room. I don't know if you know Archie Berwick, but he is a nut.
I don't know him.
Yeah, he's in the New York, Philly area right now. But
okay,
those are the types of things that helped really build my confidence and my ability. And then with moving out here, it just blew up. And I look at my career when I moved out here, I only had like 1 credit on my IMDb. You know, now I have 28.
Wow.
I won 2 awards last year in films.
Wow.
And,
congratulations.
It's been amazing watching what happened, but I've been out here grinding. So we got to get out here. You got to come out here, hang with us.
Absolutely.
We got to work on something together, because now you got me thinking that we need to write something. And really, I have a bunch of actors. We can put some stuff together. I have directors that I'm connected with. We can get this thing happening. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So if you decide to do that, we can definitely offline make sure that happens. So
yes.
I have some fun questions for you too.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I gave you a little inside scoop on some of the questions. I may have a couple more questions I have. See, Philanda just joined now. You just missed all the love that Rhonda gave you. You'll have to watch it again. Good grief, she gave you a lot of love. So you should be very encouraged after hearing this. Okay, question number 1 for you is, if you were the lead singer of an R&B group, what would be the name of the group and the title of your debut album? Yeah.
Okay, so what would be the name?
You're the lead singer of the R&B group.
Oh God, that's a hard one.
I'm thinking like take it back to the 90s, like mid to late 90s. You know, all the groups was popping there. You know.
Yes.
So,
yes. Oh my God. That's. So, see, now you making me like think creatively, like quickly.
That's why I asked it.
What would be the name of the group?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm stuck.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna table that question.
I'm gonna think about it. Okay.
Keep the wheels working. Next question. If you had a superpower,
Rhonda and cheese.
Rhonda and cheese. Look, somebody's getting bailed out.
Thank you, writing by one of friend.
Well, we still gotta get a title song, so you ain't out yet. You ain't fully bailed out yet.
Okay.
We need a title for this for your debut, your album. You know, so your album cover. So if you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
My superpower would be the ability to snap my fingers and things get done.
Oh, you want to be Thanos?
Like, remember the show Bewitched?
Yes.
Remember Bewitched and what was her name? Samantha. She snapped the house. She blinked, right? Yeah. And the house was clean. I always wanted that power.
Hey, you never know. You might get that, or you could give yourself.
Even with this book I'm writing, I just want to go like this, and it's done. Like everything just fall out of my head and onto the paper. But it don't happen like that.
You want to be Professor X. You want to be old girl from Bewitched. You want to combine all those mental powers. Yes. That's what you want to use. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. I'm good on that. Now, you went to John Hay. Mm-hmm. What is your funnest experience from high school? Break it down.
My funnest experience from high
Whether it's
school.
skipping school, doing whatever you was doing. I don't know what you was doing in high school.
Okay, so we would going to basketball games. Going to the basketball games was always the highlight of my years in high school. Absolutely. I did not go to homecoming. Out of 4 years, I did not go to homecoming. Well, the first year, the guy who asked me to go to homecoming with me stood me up. He stood me up. I'm old to this day. Yeah. He stood me up. The second year, I was supposed to go, and I think I got like stood up again. I got stood up twice for homecoming. So then by the 8th grade, it was just like, I don't even care. In 12th grade, I was just trying to focus on trying to graduate. That homecoming was not important to me at all.
I'm with you. I didn't go to my senior homecoming or prom. I was over it. I was like, I didn't care.
I did go to prom. I did manage to go to prom.
You went to prom? Yeah, I didn't go.
I did prom. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little rebel, but this talk ain't about me, so I ain't gonna talk about my little rebel. I had some little Black Power stuff going on in high school a little bit. Like serious. I went to predominantly white high school, so I was in my field sometimes.
Okay.
So, but that's for a whole. You see, I'm laying on your couch now and getting some counseling, some therapy. But that's for another time for me to talk about that. So, painting your dream vacation. Where would that be, and why? Why?
Tahiti.
Tell me why, because that's one of my spots.
About water, right? Could wake up in the morning and just jump in the water, take that dive in the water.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go to Tahiti
and stay in those villas that's above the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The little whatever with the yeah.
It doesn't.
I love water. I love water, and yeah.
You go out to Lake Erie at all?
I haven't been out in a while. I was just telling my partner that we need to go jet skiing. Because with Corona we can still go jet skiing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love water. My dream is to buy a boat. Living in Cleveland on the lake, I always wanted to have a boat. Yeah. So I don't have to have no like big 50-foot yacht or nothing like that. But just a nice little boat that I could put out on the lake. Hey. If I had a boat, I would be there right now.
Okay. Could you live on the boat?
I could spend a lot of time on the boat. I don't know if I could live completely on there, but I spend a lot of time in the summer on it.
Well, I want to encourage you in changing one thing you said about the boat. Don't belittle what God can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you said I'll take a little boat. God, I was getting ready to give you a big one, but if you want a little one, go ahead and take the little boat.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah. Don't take it away.
Well, you never see the 50-footers on Lake Erie, so.
Well, who's to say it can't be one?
I have the first.
Yeah. So, you got it. You told me about speaking it, right, and believing what having the faith that you just gonna have it. So I haven't forgotten. I want to go back to this title song.
Okay.
You thought I was gonna let you slide. I ain't letting the song go.
Title song. Okay, so. Wow, that's a hard one.
Hey.
I guess 'cause, I'm just not a singer.
What's your favorite song?
But I got a lot of favorite songs. I'm a huge Mary J. Blige fan. I love Mary J. Blige. I always say Mary J. Blige wrote the soundtrack to my life. Okay. I like the happy Mary. I like the sad Mary. Me and Mary was always going through the same things at the same time.
So would you lean closer to being the happy Mary or sad Mary if you had your own group? Which one would you be?
Definitely happy Mary, because a lot of people weren't feeling happy Mary, but I was feeling happy Mary.
Okay.
I was definitely feeling happy Mary, but me and Mary go back to what's the 411. So
man,
yeah.
Ooh, I love that. So would you remake one of her songs then as a tribute, since you love Mary so much?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's let Mary know. What would you do for her, since you love her so much? We might have to, I'm gonna tag her on this. I don't even know if she'll see it, but I'm gonna tag her anyway.
If I could remake a Mary song, it would be I'm Going Down.
I'm Going Down. Okay.
Yeah. That's down.
So that's what's going in your head. So your title track is gonna be, well, your group is Rhonda and the Sheaves.
That's what writing by Renfred posted.
Wine and the cheese, and your title track is "I'm Going Down." You're
Yes.
doing, okay. All right. I can let you slide on that one. I'm gonna let you slide on that. So we are just about at the end of our time together. What I always like to do.
That time went by fast.
Oh, I told you, it just blows by. You look up and it's like it's 3:45 for me. It's 6:45. So you having too much fun. That means you need to come out to LA. That's what it means.
I do.
Spend some
really
more time.
do.
Spend some more time.
I have never been to California at all. So yeah, it is definitely somewhere where I want to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will have a good time. I think we get 300.
And I gotta go to the Compton swap meet too.
We will get you to the swap meet. Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's number one on your list, right? The swap meet. Not the beaches. No. You getting off the plane like, where the swap meet at?
Where the swap meet at? Or the slaw swap meet.
Hey, we'll get you to all that. Yeah, that'll be funny. That'll be a nice trip for you. So, what I always ask my guests to do is to impart some wisdom to the listeners, and because there are going to be people who listen to this, the podcast, they're going to be people who watch the broadcast again, and we want to encourage them. You know, we got 7 days or so until I do another session or so. So what could you tell people to encourage them about just staying positive and keeping their eyes focused on their prizes that they're after?
When I was in college, I had this wonderful professor named Dr. Marvin Colvin, and she was my psychology professor.
Okay.
And so much of my, talk about inspiration, right? So much of the way I live my life, stem back to a lot of what she taught. And she always said, that there is power in positivity, right? She was like, a person can think positive about killing somebody and do it, right? Because, it's the power in I am or I will, right? So if you say I am and I will and I can, you am, you will, and you can. That's and I'm a firm believer in that. And I try to always make sure that my language is positive, because anytime you insert not or no, anytime you insert a negation into your sentence, it's a track, right?
Yes.
So if you say I can't do whatever, you've already subtracted that from your life.
It's done, yeah.
And so I try to be very conscious about not using negations in my language. And I think that is what has helped me, get as far as I've come in life.
Yes.
And there's still so much more to go. I feel like I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
But for a girl that grew up in Huff, from a working class family, my parents, they didn't have money for college. I paid for college out of my pocket.
I feel you.
So I graduated from college with no debt. Who does that?
Say that again.
I did, because once I said that I wanted to go to college, I spoke those words and I said that I wanted to graduate from college debt free. Now I don't have a Harvard degree because that would cost a lot more money, but real estate was just as good.
Yes.
And it was very empowering, and I've learned a lot. So I just stay positive, and it's hard. It gets really hard to stay positive. One of the books that I always recommend to people is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yeah, I've heard of that book.
That book is a quick read, but if you live by those 4 agreements that he lay out in this book, it can, it's all about staying positive and believing in your dreams and going after, what you want and the ability to have peace.
Yes.
On earth.
I love that. Staying positive. So I'm going to make sure I stay positive over these next 7 days. And if I don't, I'm going to text you, be like, hey, I need something to say. Yeah, because I'm excited because this weekend is our 24th anniversary, me and Rhonda. So we're going to Catalina Island.
You might not remember or not, but I was because you guys had like a co-bachelor party, like bachelor.
Yeah.
You guys did it together. I was there.
Really?
I was
so nervous. I was just like, I was out of it during that time. I was just like, man, okay, let's just get through this next day and a half. So
yes, I was there. I was at baby shower for baby number 1 for your daughter. Yeah.
Oh,
I know you know time
my hand for not knowing. I can't believe that.
I've always admired you guys as a couple. When Philonda went off to college and she met you and she started, telling me about you, I'm like, I am so happy for you, just to go, to meet just such a wonderful young man, and for you guys to have been together for 24 years, I just think that that's amazing. You guys have a beautiful family,
yes.
And I love you both.
Oh, well, hey, I love you. I love people. I love you. I'm grateful for you. Did Philonda tell you what she did to me? That she played a little, gave me a test. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there now. We talking. We had just met and we kind of, we had started, dating. And we were both at our respective homes for the winter break. I get a call on the phone. And, she's basically acting like some girl who goes to Bowling Green that she thought I actually liked. So she had her friend on the phone, or I don't know who, somebody was on the phone acting like her. And they were basically asking me, hey, what's up with I thought she was telling me something else. She said she's grateful for you. So the person was basically asking me questions like to see if I was open to talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I passed the test though, because I didn't know. I actually seriously thought it was the girl. And I was like, hey, I appreciate you reaching out to me, but, I'm in a relationship right now. So if things don't work out, maybe we can, try to get back to it later. But she was like, then they hung up the phone and they was laughing. Now, I guess somebody was like, oh, you got you a good one. So she was playing games on me, but I passed the test. I didn't know it was a test, but I passed. So that's a little thing about us. She gonna get me when she get home, but that's okay. I don't mind. I don't care about getting in trouble.
She's laughing.
Yeah. So, but
look, the most important thing is you passed.
That's it.
And here you guys are 24 years later.
24 years later, and it's exciting. So looking forward to a nice little getaway and just kind of enjoying ourselves over the weekend. But I want to thank you so much.
Happy anniversary to you guys.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. We try to keep the Black love going, keep it strong. Communication, working on it all the time. And still growing. We're laughing because at this point in our lives, you think, oh, yeah, we've been together all this time. We know each other. Now it's like, okay, now we're learning each other in a different way. Because our son and daughter are grown and they're doing their own thing. So we're like, oh, wow. Now we got to relearn each other again. It's just a constant process of growing.
And in a new space too,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, literally and figuratively, we are in a new space.
Right.
LA is. We've been here just about 5 years now, and I really do. I love the jump that we made because, like, my whole family is just growing and sprouting and doing things that they never thought they would be doing. So I'm really glad we made the leap. It was a scary leap. The parachute did not open initially. It did not open. So I'll tell everybody, I was like, when you make that leap, it probably is not going to open the first time.
Right.
Like, oh no. It's not going to open, but you got to have faith and know why you're doing things. Rhonda, I actually, I'm probably going to get you back on when we start talking about a project that we've written and we get ready to release. Did she tell you she lived in Atlanta? Oh, yeah. We already talked about that. You're late in the interview.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get you back on. So in the future, thank you so much for being my guest today. I want to say to everybody who's watched or who will be watching and listening that you were listening to RDC Speak Life Sessions. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, Google, Castbox, Anchor, and the many other platforms. And once again, I want to thank you to all the subscribers who have joined from outside the United States. It's really, it's encouraging to me. I think Germany's on there too now, because I was looking at the stats. Yeah, I was like, it's like 7 countries now that are listening to my podcast. And I started it with the intention of just encouraging people. So now it's become a movement that's growing and growing and growing, and I'm loving it. It's fun. I'm enjoying myself. So, and I always close out with 3 things. What'd you say?
I said, thank you for having me.
Oh, you know, to me, it's always my honor when somebody is willing to come on and talk and share their story. And you are a Black woman that rocks, from the city that rocks. So I definitely had to feature you. So I thank you for that. And I always close out my show with 3 things. Remember to love God, love yourself, and love people, and life will be beautiful. So that's how we close out. And everybody have a beautiful weekend. Make sure you show some love. Make sure you follow Rhonda, follow her on Instagram. Get connected with her. If she does another group, you may want to try to get in. I don't know how it fills up, but you may need to get in very quickly. So Rhonda, thank you so much, because we need the stories that God has put in your heart and your spirit. We need them to come out. Bring them out. And
we will definitely be talking.
We will. And let me share my mantra with you. It's leave on E. Leave this world completely empty of every God-given gift. And I got that from one of my favorite speakers, Eric the Hip Hop Preacher. He was speaking about 4 years ago, and he just kept saying, leave on E, like when he was closing it out. And then he finally broke it down. I'm not going to make the cemetery rich with what God has put in me.
Right.
So you're doing it, and we appreciate your stories. So,
thank you.
All right, with that being said, I'm going to release you. Everybody take care. Rhonda, we will talk very soon. And look for everything that I'll be sending you.
Absolutely.
All right, take care.
You too. God bless.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.